Hey, good afternoon. Um, so I have like 50 books out from the library right now on spiritual and scientific studies on spiritual things, and I'm in my own college. There's no way to go to school for what I want a degree in, so I don't want to waste the money on it. So I'm just I'm my own professor. Actually, like the Holy Spirit's my professor. The invisible is my professor, and these guys. This is Wayne Dyer. And he wrote this. I love quotations, and these aren't just quotations. It's 60 reflections on 60 different like spiritual and moral teachers, which I think is awesome. And there's 60. It's called 60 Days to Enlightenment. It's wisdom of the ages. A modern master brings eternal truths into everyday life. I'm going to do this every day for 60 days. I don't know if I'm going to make one of these videos every day for 60 days. But if I get feedback and you guys tell me you like this, I'll do it. But if you want to just go buy the book, it was written in 1998. Wisdom of the Ages, 60 Days to Enlightenment, 60 Masters, 60 Reflections on 60 Masters by Wayne Dyer. And I will read the introduction. This is like book club. I should do a book club every Friday. I have a book I want to do tomorrow. In my mind, I can picture what the world was like in other times. And I am fascinated by what those people who lived before us might have felt in their hearts. To imagine that Pythagoras, Buddha, Jesus Christ, Michelangelo, Shelley, Shakespeare, Emerson, and so many of those we revere as teachers and spiritual leaders actually walked on the same ground, drank the same water, watched the same moon, and were warmed by the same sun as I am today intrigues me considerably. Even more intriguing is what these great minds of all time would like us to know. I have come to the conclusion that in order to keep a deep inner spiritual change in our worlds, we need to know and live in our personal lives the wisdom these eminent teachers from our past have left us. Many of these profound teachers, I'm all about the new, and I'm all about like new ways of seeing and new ways of doing and new technology, but it has to be built on a foundation of tradition, of solid, like eternal truth and spiritual practice. That's timeless. Many of these profound teachers were considered troublemakers, and some were even put to death for their beliefs. Their teachings, however, could never be silenced, as evidenced by the variety of topics from different historical eras that are in this book. And I truly believe, and that's my favorite thing to study, is like comparative world religion, that whether it's any kind of prejudice, whether it's racial or it's religious or it's class or it's gender, the more that you are exposed to that which you judge and that which you don't like, there's the fear of the unknown is greater than any other fear. So, is to break bread with somebody different from you and to learn how you are the same. We have more alike and more in common no matter how different we may seem on the outside. So we need to find ways to relate to each other rather than like focus on our differences. And when it comes to our spiritual beliefs, the most of our spiritual beliefs have more in common than they do in different. Even if you're an atheist, you're moral, or you have a belief system and you have like a moral groundwork. Well, you should. You have like some kind of basis for why you operate. Anyways, so their teachings could never be silenced, as evidenced by the variety of topics from different historical eras that are in this book. Their words live on, and their advice for having a deeper and richer experience of life is here for you to read and apply. This collection is a compendium of the wisdom from those topics and times, and what I feel those wise and creative thinkers are telling us now. and how to create deep inner spiritual change. In a sense, those of us who now occupy planet Earth are in many ways connected to all those who lived here before us. And with the Akashic records, any of us can access anything that's ever happened in the history of all time at any time. That all wisdom, all knowledge is accessible to all in the now. In a sense, those of us who now occupy planet Earth are in many ways connected to all those who lived before us. We are all connected by the collective unconsciousness or the collective consciousness. We are all one. We may have new technologies and modern conveniences, but we still share the same heart space, and the same energy or life force that flowed through their bodies now flows through ours, because no energy is created nor destroyed. It just changes form. And Adam and me could have been one of the same atoms in Einstein. You never know. It's died and been regenerated by now. Okay. It is to this mind picture and shared energy that this book is dedicated. What do these ancestral scholars, whom we consider the wisest and most spiritually advanced, have to say to us today? Their observations of life's greatest lessons are in the prose, poetry, and speeches that they left for us to read and listen to. Though they lived in a separate time with quite different living conditions, they still speak to you and to me, because the truth is timeless. It's eternal. In essence, these brilliant minds of our past are still with us through their words. I have chosen to highlight 60 of our ancestral teachers, all of whom command my admiration and respect. This is Dr. Wayne Dyer. He's a great spiritual teacher of our time. I think he's dead now. They are a diverse group representing ancient, medieval, Renaissance, early modern, and modern times from all around our world. Some lived into their 90s and others died in their early 20s. Male, female, black, white, Native American, Far Eastern, Middle Eastern. Scholars, soldiers, scientists, philosophers, poets, and statesmen, they are here and they have something to say to you personally. If you are seeing this video, these messages are for you. Maybe I will. I would like to make a video every day, but nobody ever watches them, and then I get mad. Because then I have to feel like, I don't know, it feels like a chore. I have written each piece in a way that explains how these noble masters' works might benefit you directly here and now. That means this is 911, 911, 911. This is important information. I have written each piece in a way that explains how these noble masters' works might benefit you directly here and now. I like spiritual things or teachings to share that are applicable in your daily life, and of utilitarian value, I think. Maybe I'm not saying that right. Utility. Using that word wrong. Sorry, I took too many bong hits before I did this. I abused weed today. I need to cut back. I needed to chill out. But because I drank too much coffee. I wouldn't have drank too much coffee, which I should have drank it all, then I wouldn't need to calm down with the weed, At least it wasn't alcohol. Each contribution is designed to speak to you personally with specific suggestions at the end of each short essay explaining how you can implement the lessons in your life. I want to provide you with insights that you can apply from some of our most esteemed teachers, rather than have you learn their poetry and prose and passively conclude, well, that's nice for a literature or humanities class, but that was then and this is now. I recommend that you read each section with an openness to the idea that these towering minds share the same divinity and life force as you do, and as Christ or Jesus said, you can do all he did and more. All our gods, goddesses, powers, all of nature's powers have been given equally to all brothers and sisters of all children of Creator. We all have these powers that these great masters had. We can all access the places that they went. I recommend that you read each selection with an openness to the idea that these towering minds share the same divinity and life force as you do and are talking to you directly in their own unique language and art form, and that you are going to apply their wisdom to your life beginning today. As I wrote each of these essays, I looked at a portrait or photograph of the teacher I was highlighting, and I would literally ask the individual, what would you like those of us here today to know? And I would listen and surrender. I allowed myself to experience their guidance, and my writing became almost automatic. It may sound strange, he was channeling them. It may sound strange, but I actually felt the presence of those writers and poets with me as I wrote each of these 60 pieces. Many of the selections in this book are poems. I view poetry as a language of the heart, not just a form of entertainment or a subject to get passed in school, but another way to transform our lives by communicating our wisdom to one another. Here are 3 examples from my own life of how poetry, the language of the heart, has touched me. Many years ago, when I received my doctorate, I was at a festive celebration where I was given many nice gifts. The gift that touched me most deeply was a poem written by my mother, which still hangs in my office almost 30 years later. I reproduce it here to illustrate how poetry, which doesn't have to originate in the minds of renowned celebrities, can touch us where we live. The greatest artists are people nobody's. A mother can but guide, then step aside, I knew. I could not say this is the way that you should go, for I could not foresee what paths might beckon you to unimagined heights that I might never know. Yet always in my heart I realized that you would touch a star. I'm not surprised. When my oldest daughter Tracy was just a toddler of 5 or 6, she sent me a picture she had drawn in school with her poem that expressed from her tender heart how she felt. Her mother and I had separated, and she knew the pain that I felt in not living with her every day. This too has been framed and hangs on the wall next to my desk. Even if the sun stops shining, even if the sky is never blue, it won't matter because I'll always love you. Reading those precious thoughts expressed poetically from my daughter never fails to tug at my heart and produce tears of gratitude in my eyes. Finally, our daughter Summer wrote this poem as a Christmas gift for her mother. It sits framed beside her bed for her to read every night. What your love means to me. Knowing your smile greets me at the door and your kind words leave me with no worries. Every time I slip a step, you help me to my feet. And when you and I laugh together, I feel complete. Your love for us shines through on every cloudy day. To think you'd ever abandon us isn't possible in any way. A mom like you is impossible, the kind you'll never see. That's why I love you. That's what your love means to me. As I said, poetry is the language of the heart, and you are about to have your heart touched by 60 majestic souls who wrote directly to you from another place and another time. Let's thank Dr. Wayne Dyer for channeling the spirits of these 60 great masters. This book will serve you best if you think of it as a way of reconnecting to those great souls who have left our material world in body form, but are still very much with us in a spiritual sense. And don't look upon them with awe, that should only be reserved for Creator, for they are your equals. But look upon them with honor and respect as brothers and sisters. But remember, they are your equals. They are not greater than you. I encourage you to make this book a 2-month renovation project of your soul in which you read only one selection each day and then make a conscious effort to apply the suggestions that day. When you have completed the 60 days, use this as a reference book. Look at the 60 subjects in the table of contents. And if you need a boost in patience, mercy, kindness, meditation, forgiveness, humility, leadership, prayer, or anything else covered by our ancestral masters, then read that contribution. Review the essay and work on applying the specific recommendations. Write an essay yourself for each one. Write your own essay for each, your own reflection for each writing, for each piece. Let your life be, that's for me, he didn't say that. Let your life, that's to myself. Let your life be guided, I've never read this before. Let your life be guided by greatness. I'm looking for simple ways to make my life better, to grow. I know that's all it seems like I do now is heal myself or work on myself, but I'm still not totally still or at peace yet. So and I'm still reactive. Not all the time, but I am, and I'm still losing my temper sometimes. And I'm still struggling with other things. So I'm just still, my ego's still running the show a lot of the time. Maybe not at this moment. Everybody take a breath, come back to your breath, center. I have to always keep focusing and centering. You can tell I've calmed down a lot compared to like my old videos. From all the meditation and the Reiki and the mindfulness practices. It's been a lot of discipline. Let your life be guided by greatness. To me, this is the way to teach poetry, prose, and literature. Let it come alive. Let it shimmer in your mind and then take that inner awakening and put it to work. All of us are deeply grateful to those who make life throb to a swifter, stronger beat. These great teachers from the past have done that for me, and I encourage you to apply this language of the heart from the wisdom of the ages to your life. God bless you, Wayne Dyer. And let's be grateful to all these teachers. Thank you, Ascended Masters. Thank you, Creator. Thank you to all the trees that made this book and brought us this wisdom. So we're going to read day 1, meditation. Of course, that's step 1, surrender, the most important step. Meditation, that is the foundation of any spiritual practice. Any spiritual practice. I do not care. Even an atheist. The foundation to living a successful life is meditation. Learn to be silent. That has been my most important teaching and the hardest for me because I'm never quiet and I'm so loud. But I've been still. I'm glad, I finally am glad and grateful that I've been alone these last 5 years. I truly understand now that it couldn't be any other way. There's no other way. There's no fucking any other way. My ego was so strong. My mind was so much stronger than even a regular person's. There's no way. I had to be completely disconnected from everybody and everything for 5 years. Almost completely. To learn to become that quiet. And I had to sober up. And I had to meditate twice a day. And I'm still struggling with meditating enough. That's why I keep backtracking and backsliding. Plus, healing is not linear. It's not a straight line. Learn to be silent. Let your mind quiet. Listen and absorb. Learn to be silent. Let your quiet mind listen and absorb. Pythagoras, 580 BC to 500 BC. That is a master of the day, Pythagoras. Learn to be silent. Let your quiet mind listen and absorb. A Greek philosopher and mathematician, Pythagoras was especially interested in the study of mathematics in relation to weights and measures and to musical theory. All man's miseries derive from not being able to sit quietly in a room alone. All man's miseries derive from not being able to sit quietly in a room alone. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. I will be honest, I have never heard of this master before. Another master, there's 2 today, is obviously it's all about meditation and being quiet, stilling the mind. However you still the mind, it doesn't have to be going any kind of mindfulness practice. Wherever you find that inner peace. Blaise Pascal, 1623 to 1662. He didn't live long. Blaise Pascal was a French philosopher, scientist, mathematician, and writer whose treatises contributed to the fields of hydraulics and pure geometry. This is the one time in this collection of great contributors that I have elected to highlight 2 writers on the same subject. Maybe because it's such a huge subject and it's so important and it's so appropriate that it would be number 1. I know they're all equal, but they're not. Meditation is the number 1 step. Surrender is the first step. Surrender is always the first step. Forgiveness is always the first step. Surrendering to the present moment, accepting the present moment, and forgiving everything in the past. Letting go of it. Physically grounding. Releasing all that negative energy from your body. Shake your body too and let it out. Wah! Wah! Alright, that was super fucking weird, wasn't it? That works. This is the one time in this collection of great contributors that I have elected to highlight two writers on the same subject. I have said, imagine your feet, there's roots coming out of your feet, going deep, 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 branching out into the core, deep into the core of the earth. As that energy moves up your spine, it goes, mushrooms out like a tree, back into source. Like a tree, like the tree of life. I am a tree. Pythagoras, this is not me being high, I'm like this all the time. That weed wore off, it only lasts for like 5 minutes. Pythagoras, I just don't care anymore. Pythagoras, this is how I teach, I make it fun. Whose writings influenced the thought of Plato and Aristotle? Pythagoras, whose writings influenced, and he is the modern father of numerology, whose writings influenced the thought of Plato and Aristotle, was a major contributor to the development of both mathematics and Western rational philosophy, as well as spiritual teachings and numerology. Blaise Pascal, a famous French mathematician, physicist, and religious philosopher who lived 22 centuries, or that would be 2,200 years after Pythagoras, is considered one of the original scientific minds. He is responsible for inventing the syringe, the hydraulic press. This is Blaise Pascal is responsible for inventing the syringe, the hydraulic press, and the first digital calculator. Pascal's law of pressure is still taught in science class around the world today, and I bet you all his most important, insightful moments, light bulb moments came in silence, like Einstein's. If you listen to any of the great masters talk about all their most insightful moments, they usually came in times of stillness when they weren't thinking about anything or trying to figure anything out. Pascal's law of pressure is still taught in science classes around the world today. Keeping in mind the left-brain scientific leanings of these two scientists, reread their two quotes. Pascal, all man's miseries derive from not being able to sit quietly in a room alone. Pythagoras, learn to be silent. Let your quiet mind listen and absorb. They both speak to the importance of silence and the value of meditation in your life, whether you are an accountant or an avatar. They send us a valuable message about a way of being in life that is not popularly encouraged in our culture. That there is tremendous value in creating alone time in your life that is spent in silence. If you want to shed your miseries, learn to sit silently in a room alone and meditate. And now I realize, is 5 years of being alone that I thought was punishment for the longest time. That was the most painful period of my life. That wasn't the most painful period of my life, not by a long shot. It was the best 5 years of my life. It was how I found freedom. It was how I found the stillness of God, the peace of God within. And I'm not like that all the time, but I'm